All right, the workout is done. All my meals are made. Kids are off to school. And I'm ready to rock and roll for the day. It's been an awesome morning so far. And I just have a few minutes before my first meeting, so I figured maybe hit some questions and comments and just kind of go over a few things. This morning I hit some legs with kind of an emphasis on hamstrings. You'll see that in the video right after this. But overall, really good day. Decided to do some rack pulling, and I used a reverse band variation, which I absolutely love. If you have not tried reverse band work, I definitely encourage you to do it. For sure. I mean, you can use it for your deadlift, your bench, your squat, what have you. It's a great variation. And the overall goal of a reverse band is to really overload the top of the lift, giving you some deload at the bottom of the lift. As the bands gather tension at the bottom, right? There's less weight, there's less load at the bottom. And as you pick that weight up, the bands start to release the tension, giving you a heavier load at the top of the lift. And it's a great way to work on kind of top end strength, overloading your main lifts. It's huge for that. And also it's huge for the central nervous system. It changes the way we approach the central nervous system, right? Because it kind of breaks it in half, where we have a deload at the bottom where the central nervous system is not firing, yet through the middle of the lift, right? When that tension starts releasing and you start getting more of the weight in your hand, the bands start releasing, which means the central nervous system goes from kind of kicked on to at the middle lift where it's like firing now to finish, because now you're feeling all the weight pretty much, right? So it's a great way to shock the central nervous system, especially if you have some lockout issues or again, with your bench or your deadlift, whatever it is. It's a great way to overload that by keeping a little bit lighter weight at the bottom because of the bands, and then of course giving you more of the weight at the top of the lift. So I hit those this morning. As soon as I got down to the gym, the plan was to kind of work myself up to a heavy weight, and I did that. I was really pleased with how things moved, given that we're 190 days plus into this, and I just continue to feel good and make progress. I wanted to jump so bad, but I decided not to. I had a lot more work to do, so I jumped into some other exercises, did some Romanian deadlifts with the barbell, did some good mornings, and then of course finished up with some leg curls. So just overall, a really solid lift this morning, and really pleased with how it went. And overall, not only am I just pleased with the lift, but again, just another day added to this no days off that I'm just so humble and grateful that I get to do this literally every single day. I get to do what I love every single day, right? I'm getting fired up just thinking about it. Like, I'm just so humble and so appreciative of the ability to train like this every single day. Do what I love every single day. It's a part of who I am. It's internally inside me. I use kind of the correlation. Training to me is no different than breathing. This is what I do, right? And to be able to do it every single day and feel great, feel good, stay strong, stay healthy, continue to push myself, keep the intensity at its utmost, top. It's just amazing. I'm just so grateful for it all. And again, today was just another day, another reminder of how grateful and humble I am to be able to do this every single day, because you know what? We're not promised anything, right? Anything could happen at any moment. So living in that moment, and what's better than living that moment, some pushing some weight around, the old school way, right? Free weights, barbells, dumbbells, and plate, like that's the old school way. There's nothing better than doing it the old school way and living in the moment and being able to do that, because we are not promised anything. So definitely humble, definitely a great lift this morning, and I could not be more pleased with where things at as we approach day 200 of literally no days off. So I'm just pumped and humble and ready to rock and roll. So with that, I wanted to say a few things. The channel continues to grow, and number one, I could not be more grateful and appreciative of all the BG crew, all the OGs, all the people out there, and all your involvement on the channel. You are the reason why we continue to grow. There's a calling for this message. And again, I'm going to talk a little bit about that. I think it's important, although many of you might think it may be a little redundant. I repeat myself a lot, but the reality is as the channel continues to grow and as we gather more subscribers and more people following, it's important that we continue to talk about the message so we can continue spreading the message. Spreading the old school, hardcore way message. That's what this channel's all about. And it's not only just about the old school, hardcore way of training, which is the plates, the dumbbells, the barbells, the free weights, right? But it's also about all the values and the characteristics that are built from training that way, right? We're living in an age now where everything is made easy for us. And again, to make a choice, even now, I give you straight kudos and a huge shout out if you choose the hardcore, old school free weight path first, because today, everything is handed to everybody. Everything is made easier. And I don't want to sound cliche, or you have that cliche saying, right, that the older generation will always knock the newer generation, right? It's like the grandfather saying, we walked to school uphill both ways in a snowstorm. You guys don't know anything about it. I get all that, right? Again, it's just a part of human nature to kind of talk about the generational differences. And it's almost human nature to say that the older generation is harder than the newer generation. But the reality is, with that aside, with that kind of like social conversation, that social whatever it is, with that aside, let's talk about the real facts and reality though, is that the reality is that with technology, things are easier. That's the reality. Right? It's not saying that people don't have certain mindsets or that people don't work hard. There's a lot of people out there that work hard. Again, they are out there. I know for a fact they are. So I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is that in general, we are seeing a major shift in our society. That's the facts. We're seeing, unemployment rates. We're seeing people, waiting for handouts, right? Waiting for a check to come in the mail. COVID didn't help any of that. That's the reality too. Didn't help any of that. But we're seeing everything handed to people, right? Things have gotten easier. And the reality is that when we talk about training, I hate to break the news to everybody out there. And I understand that this whole philosophy about doing what works best for you and pushing yourself in that realm, I get all of that. So I want to also take that to the side as well. It's not that I don't understand that. I just want to talk about the reality from the point of view in which I see it. And the reality is that things are easy today. It's just the reality, right? Let's take a car, for example. The cars now, the new tech, it drives for you. And in my eyes, yeah, that's great. It's technology. Yeah, we're moving forward. A car that drives for you. The reality is that now people get lazy and content and bad things happen. Bad things happen when you let things do things for you and you don't take control, right? Use that as a metaphor for life. Bad things happen if you don't take control. If you let the car drive for you. If you let life drive for you. If you let the machine do the work for you. Bad things happen. What happens? You lose yourself. You lose your ability to think about doing things, not letting the things do them for you, right? We start letting things do stuff for us, and that becomes a detriment to society and humans, right? We're the most amazing being on this planet. We are made to be, we're made to be savages. I don't know another way to put it. Like, I truly believe, like, we're made to be savages. Like, we're made to be gatherers and hunters and savages, and we're beings, right? We're animals, right? We're animals, and we start losing that instinct. We start losing those traits when things are handed to us. And when I'm talking about the old school way, it's about keeping those traits and then adding the values that come along with it to it, right? So the new school is losing that instinctive trait of just being alpha, being hungry, being driven, like being a savage, right? Being, somebody that's willing to go out there and do stuff for themselves, to take control, is all being lost because everything's being done for us. We're all getting handouts. We're all getting a check in the mail. We're all not going to work. We're all doing what, we all want participation, where everybody wants an award. right? Everybody wants an award. And please, I use the term all in a very, because I know there's a lot of people out there that doesn't represent. Trust me, I do. Again, we got a lot of BG crew on here that represents that. That's for sure. So again, when I say all, again, just kind of bear with me with how, but this is the reality of what we have going on here. This is what happens. And so when I talk about the old school, the training styles, and when I carry that out through action, not just talking. This isn't me just like talking about the old school philosophies and the old school ways. This is actual action. This is actually me stepping in it, walking in it, putting the action forward. I'm training every day. I train with free weights. I push myself. I go the hard route. I choose the hard route. I choose free weights. That then plays a huge role in me choosing the harder way in life. I want the harder way. I want the challenge. I want to sit in the interview and say, like, I'm going to have your position. Like, I want to have that mentality. I want control. And the new school is losing that control, right? We're no longer competitive. We're no longer challenging the youth, right? And so again, these are the values. When we talk about powerlifting, let's talk old school when it comes to powerlifting. There's nothing more old school than the mentality of Louis Simmons at Westside Barbell, right? That is old school mentality in the powerlifting realm. 100%. That's all gone. That's all gone. One example, how is it gone? Well, there's probably well over 5,000 different powerlifting federations, and everybody can fit into probably 60 different classes, and everybody can get an award, right? Everybody can get an award. So it's just, again, like that's how society has changed. Technology advancements have made us soft. That's just a reality. We are soft. We are soft. Right? We are soft. And again, so I'm going on this thing, but the reason I say all of that is because it represents what this channel, and I will not steer away from spreading this word. Doing this channel is going to be the platform to bring back this old school hardcore mentality of not only just using free weights, all right, but also the mentality of like, take the hard path, challenge yourself. I guarantee you, when you take control and you do it, I promise you, when you have control and you put the hard work in and you push yourselves and you don't accept handouts and you do what you need to do, I can guarantee you you're going to be successful. And that's what the old school training teaches us. That's what it teaches us, and people are missing that. You know, I understand that everybody has their own idea of things and their own way of doing it and what works best for one person. I get all of that. And it's one of the main philosophies when we talk about Blood and Guts 2.0 is stop listening to everybody else and do your own. Do what works for you. But don't choose the easiest way. Yes, there's variables. You're injured. Things happen. You know, you have a disability. Whatever it is, right? Life, right? Things happen. But again, the mindset that is created through the ones that don't have those variables has become extremely soft these days. And everything's handed to us. Look at the Peloton movement. What is the Peloton movement? What is that? What is the Peloton movement? What is that? There's a 32-inch screen TV on the Peloton bike. What? Right? What? Now, of course, I listen to music, but I've heard David Goggins talk, and I like David Goggins, but I'm not a David Goggins like, whatever. I think he's got some pretty good points, and, obviously, he definitely walks the walk, so I definitely say that. But again, David Goggins, he even goes to the point of wearing headphones is cheating, right? So even going on his long runs, listening to music cheating. I listen to music, so, but I get what he's saying though. Right? I get what he's saying is you have to become in tune with this and you can't have anything else. When things get hard, you got to have only that. All you're going to have, when real things get hard, all you're going to have is this. So you better be ready to use it and don't let anything interfere in that process. So I get that. It's the same thing with this Peloton thing. I mean, the TVs and just not just Peloton, but just in general, the glamorization of gyms, the new state-of-the-art equipment, TVs. Go ahead and tell me how many apps are out there that do programming for people. That's completely ridiculous, right? I mean, that is absolutely complete. All the knowledge we have everybody, they want to make it easier and they want to sell a product. So you download an app and it writes the program for you from somebody who's never even laid eyes on you, has never even talked to you. That to me is mind-boggling. But again, it's making things easier for society. It's making things easier for society. I talked a little bit about, a little bit ago about, they want to make college free for everybody. That's crazy. Where's the competitiveness? What's that? What does that do? What's that do? Besides spend our tax money, right? So what does that do? Nothing. It does nothing. It doesn't keep anything competitive. It's making everything easy for everybody. It's just ongoing. It continues to go and go and go. I could sit here all day and talk about it. And I didn't even plan on ranting today, and I'm just fired up on it right now. I'm just completely fired up. Free college for everybody. Just fascinating to me. I guarantee you, if we had politicians who, this is just coming to my head now, bear with me. This is what my brain just kind of runs with. If we had politicians, whatever it is, I definitely don't want to get political, but if we had politicians who are pushing the so-called free college movement thing, whatever it is, or let's just say politicians in general, and whatever their agenda they have, right, is, whatever, right? I'm not going to get political, but I just want to use this as an example. Literally just popped in my head. Let's use politicians for an example. I can guarantee you that if there's politicians out there, if politicians trained old school, could you imagine that? Name me one politician that trains. You ever seen this is our elite, right? It's pretty interesting, isn't it? Arnold Schwarzenegger, governor, whatever. I don't even want to get on that spiel. Arnold's a whole nother topic. I have my thoughts on Arnold too. That's a whole nother topic. But let's talk about the percentage of politicians. Who trains hardcore? Who's a hardcore politician that trains? I'm talking savage. No, not running marathons, not having a fitness instructor, not doing, cycle pedal class, on Thursday night at the local LA Fitness. I'm talking about a politician that actually trains, that looks like they train, like they're a savage, right? Actually is a savage, that looks like it. You probably can name one. I can't. So comment below if there's a politician that's an absolute savage and trains the old school way. Because if there were more politicians that train, and this is not a meathead idea, I'm not being this, this meathead with this concept. This is how I truly believe. If there was politicians who literally train the hardcore old school way, put that grit, that old school free weights, politicians deadlifting, if there was a politician out there right now that was deadlifting 750, benching 450, 500, and squatting 800, do you think that person would be pushing free college for everybody? Let that ponder for a second. And I'm going to use that as an example of this has so many different variables and ways about talking about this that it's insane. Again, this is my perspective. I'm not putting this on anybody. This is how I think, though. But could you imagine if we had a politician who squatted 800 pounds? Could you, a senator or a congressman or or a couple of them, that were, pulling 750, 700, running for Congress, and, their training style or their benching 225 for reps. Not running marathons, not in a cycling class on Thursday night, but training, old school training, dungeon training, not in your typical commercial, training, right? If there's one out there, I'd love to hear about it, because there's gonna be a huge shout out to the person that brings that politician up. All right, definitely a huge shout out, and a ton of respect is going to go out to that politician. But I guarantee if we had more politicians deadlifting 700 pounds, we wouldn't be pushing this free college agenda. Not getting political, but just a point I want to make in this. So with that, I did want to do some questions and comments. I'm so sorry that the rant took over from that. I really apologize. I just got going on this and couldn't stop. So I really do apologize. I will get the questions and comments. You guys know it's one of my big things, is showing my respect back to all of you for questioning and commenting on the channel. I'm doing my best to respond via text. if I can. But overall, I really want to hit some questions and comments, via video and have that dialogue with all of you because I appreciate you guys so much. But at the end of the day, right now, I got to get ready. I got to rock and roll. I got to get to the office and get ready for a meeting. So with that, I'm going to sign off on this thing. I truly appreciate all of you. Sorry this turned into a rant. Sometimes I can't control myself. It just happens. But I got to believe in what I am. I got to believe who I am. I'm not changing for anybody. This is what you got. This is who I am. This is what I do. This is the way I think. This is what I am right here. So again, it just happens that way because this is my mindset. Either way, I'll see you guys for the next lift tomorrow.
Boom. Let's go. Let's finish this thing. Last set. This is it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 8, 9, 10. Cool. 10 more. Finish. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9,